Hey, everybody, welcome back. It is the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And we are, of course, very proud to be part of the Variety Sports Network. And we're coming to you live from the Frank Walker Law Studio. Cheers, everyone.
The Godfather.
It is night 2 of the draft. And so it's back-to-back shows for us. And at this time, we believe
point of order.
We believe Scarps is out. Point of order, yes.
Ian has put draft BPA down there as his handle. That's bullshit.
we have
that
a
is
debate
bullshit.
the
We have this debate
seconds.
every fucking. I'm the BPA guy. He's like, no. We got to consider team needs. Why? The Steelers consider team needs every damn year, and they draft like shit. Take the best player. Let's take Kenny Pickett. We really got to have a quarterback. Let's take Terrell Edmonds. We really need a safety. Yeah, fuck that.
Ben coming in strong tonight. Look at this. I have triggered Ben.
You did. That's your fault.
The Chiefs just took Omar Norman Lott, which sounds like a movie producer's name or something. The big defensive tackle from Tennessee. So there's just one pick left now in the second round here. That'll belong to the Eagles, which they claim the pick is already in. So we might be getting to the third round rather quickly. But hello to everybody in the chat. Hello to everybody watching live as we get ready for the Steelers to select. We are about 19 picks away, give or take here. And there's a lot to discuss. Shedeur Sanders is still available. And I'm kind of speechless. Ian, do you think it's going to happen? If he's there at 83?
I think it would be hilarious if he was there at 83 and we took Jalen Milroe instead.
It would be, wouldn't it?
Reportedly, the Steelers had a very good visit with Milroe at Alabama's Pro Day. They had him out to dinner. Yeah. And we all talked about Milroe being a lot like Malik Willis and just very raw but super athletic. And Malik Willis was a third-round pick. And, I mean, at pick number 83, you're not expecting to get a guy who's going to be a starter this year. So, there are worse players they could take than Jalen Milroe at 83.
Oh, the Eagles took Makuba.
Oh, the safety from
Texas.
Wow. Over Kevin Winston. Must be some injury concerns with Winston.
Possibly.
Yeah.
It could just be a fit thing too. You know, you get to this point in the draft and like this guy fits what we do better.
Right.
There's some pretty good cornerbacks still on the board here. I mean, I know we're still 20 picks away from where we are picking, but
Ben, now that we're getting ready to go into the third round, is the trade George Pickens, has that come to an end?
I doubt it. I don't think so.
Okay.
That's me. I mean, I think there's at least a decent possibility that if we go to the end of the day and they haven't traded him, that he stays.
I do too.
You know, I mean, they've talked about it, but apparently they're not getting the offers that they consider are acceptable. They're like, no, why should I do that?
Right. And that's their prerogative to do that, obviously.
Just basically saying no. I mean, I'm probably gonna get a third round comp pick when he leaves anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to make me a better offer than that. You know, and a team could come back and say, well, a third this year is more valuable than a third in 2 years. I mean, come on. But by the same token, I mean, you know, if they're not willing to give up more than that, the Steelers are just going to hold out. You know, it seemed like Omar was trying to kind of establish that reputation as a tough negotiator.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he certainly has gotten some really good deals, like getting a second rounder for Claypool. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
The second rounder for Claypool, no less.
One of the great fleecings of all time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm fascinated. I have been kind of thinking myself ever since DK Metcalf came here. I just haven't really seen how this dynamic was going to work with Pickens on the other side. But
because
as of right now, that's what we're looking at. But it only takes one in that regard. So, Ian, what do we got as far as like BPA? And I say BPA, I should say guys that the Steelers would be interested in, because there are going to be some players available that the Steelers just they're not going to fit what they do, so they're not going to take them. But who are we looking at right now?
Yeah, so we brought in a lot of running backs for pre-draft visits. So the guys still on the board there, I'm pretty sure. Just running through the picks here one more time, just to make sure. Yeah, okay. So the guy's still on the board. Kaleb Johnson from Iowa.
Yep.
Dylan Sampson from Tennessee, who Cliff always reminds me was the SEC Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah. No, that actually would be an intriguing pick. It would be.
Yeah,
if he's still there.
Yeah.
I'm in favor.
Jaden Blue from Texas, Bashal Tootin from Virginia Tech, and Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State, as well as DJ Giddens from Kansas State. All guys that we brought in for pre-draft visits, and we know that the Steelers have, over the last few years, drafted a lot of those kind of guys.
I was surprised PJ Harvey went off the board in the second. I mean, the Steelers reportedly liked him quite a bit, but I didn't think he'd be gone that soon. But so it is, and we'll look for others. But there's several running backs left. I think there's still plenty of wide receivers left if they want to go that route.
Noel from Iowa State and Savion Williams from TCU they brought in for pre-draft visits of the wide receivers.
Would Williams have been a first rounder if his hands had been more reliable?
He might have been, or close to it.
You watch the tape on him, and it's like, wow, what a play. Wow, what a play. Oh, my God, how did he drop that? Oh, my God, how did he drop
Lima
that?
Swede.
Yeah, and that you start getting flashbacks and some PTSD of Limas. And, I mean, he's an exciting kid, but I don't know. The Giants pick is in to start the third round, and we'll see exactly what they do, but
on the defensive side, if we double dip at defensive tackle, Darius Alexander from Toledo and Josh Farmer from Florida State were both guys we brought in for pre-draft visits. Yep. I doubt they would use both of their first picks on a defensive
Giants
tackle.
Took Darius Alexander.
Well, so much for that.
So much for that. Yeah, I like that kid.
I did too.
But I would expect maybe if we double dip on defensive tackle, it'll happen like as a 6th round pick or 7th round pick. I think we have a couple 7th rounders, so I could see it as a late day 3.
You could also see it as a 4th round pick if the value is there.
Right.
We've seen that before where they just didn't think a guy was still going to be there, and so they're like, "Well, we got to take him."
Yeah. I would like to.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick, just like to give a shout out to Cliff for tonight's Spirit. Right now, a little Tennessee sour mash whiskey.
It is delicious, is it not?
It is quite delicious. I'm telling you what, man, it was really nice, neat.
It's not very sour.
It's even better when you drop a couple cubes in there, man.
I'm gonna go get mine.
Just
you guys
a little bit of ice in it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Is it?
That's
not?
all I got. I got a couple little cubes in there, and it just boom.
In that. There it is.
So yeah, this is number one again. Welcome everybody in, and thanks for spending part of your Friday evening with us. We know that you don't have anything better to do in your lives because, well, I mean, this is the ultimate. I mean, where else would you be? I mean, out having a good time at dinner, maybe drinks at the bar. You know, I mean, those things are things you can do anytime. When you can come spend some time here with us, you can't miss that.
Some quality time with us. Yeah.
My nose growing.
Could you?
I don't know. Ben, what was you had a chance probably this morning to be inundated with, you know, you couldn't turn on ESPN, you couldn't turn on any website without, it didn't matter if it was even a sports website. The first headline was Shedeur Sanders not selected.
That was beautiful.
It was, because we're not fans of his as a potential Steelers quarterback. Okay, there's too many things we do not like, and that has nothing to do with him, with his film crew and everything else that follows with him. I just didn't see it, especially when I know that 2026 is a better year for quarterbacks. So I'm so tired of the narrative that's been going on today. People are making so many excuses for this kid, and I just
set aside, and this is what I've been saying from the very beginning. Set aside his attitude, set aside his ego, set aside his entourage, set aside his dad. Look at his game. Just look at his game. Okay. The kid has a lot of moxie, a lot. He hangs in, he's tough. He's very accurate in short to intermediate throws. All that is good. It's positive. He checks the ball down a lot, though. He takes a lot of sacks. He holds the ball way too long. He has a mediocre deep ball. He has very average arm strength and a long release on top of that, which is one of the reasons he takes a lot of sacks. And he doesn't have a real strong arm, so he's not going to be able to fit the ball in those real tight NFL windows.
Yep.
I don't see it and never have. And, people like Mel Kiper will say, oh, you know what the hell you're talking about? He's going to be a star. And are you going to admit you were wrong? Yeah, I'll admit it. I'll admit I was wrong if he turns into a star. But guess what? I'm not going to have to. I truly have never seen a prospect that was more overhyped than this kid this year.
Yeah, you're right, Ian. Mel Kiper did say Jamarcus Russell was going to be a Pro Bowler.
Also, counterpoint to what Ben just said. That he's never seen a prospect more overhyped. Let's not forget that Johnny Manziel existed.
Johnny Fuckstain
was pretty.
He went the
hyped,
first round, dude.
He did.
He did. Yeah, because a homeless guy told the Browns GM to draft
him. I would love to see Sanders, be successful somewhere, but I just don't see it. I think you hear all the time how bad his offensive line was and everything. Well, okay, if your offensive line is bad, then you have to do things to adjust to that. And he wasn't doing those things, getting the ball out quicker, not dropping back. And it was like watching Tecmo Bowl at times where you just he'd drop back, and then sling it up. And we should all be so lucky to have Joe Horn Jr. and Travis Hunter there to catch the ball for us. So best wishes to him. I just hope that it's not in Pittsburgh. Let's put it that way. The Chiefs have selected edge rusher out of Louisville, Ashton Gillot, not sure how you say that. That is one I did not see coming. That seems a little earlier than I would have had him, but and now the Browns are back on the clock. Or actually their pick is in, and then the Raiders. I think the Raiders, that might be the last hope for Sanders. Ian, what do you think?
Enough guys, enough teams. Enough guys have gone off the board. Enough teams have passed on him at this point. Who knows what happens? We've seen there's been touted quarterback prospects before that went into a free fall. Who was it? Was it Matt Barkley, I think, from USC that wound up going to the Eagles, I think, in the 4th round? And there were people who thought he was going to be a first-round pick that year.
Yep.
And I think what happens, we talked about this a little bit on Slack today, is that in the lead up to the draft, everybody thinks, quarterback's the most important position. This team needs a quarterback. So, there's going to be all these quarterbacks drafted early. Teams are going to overdraft quarterbacks because they need them. This happened in the Kenny Pickett year also, that, there were people out there, smart people out there who said, 4 quarterback, like Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, Matt Corral, and Des Ridder are all going to go in the 1st round. And none of them went in the top 20 that year. Kenny Pickett went to us.
Yep.
But other than that, the other ones were 3rd or 4th round picks. And I think it happens year after year that we see that NFL teams and NFL scouting departments build their boards based on tape and how good these guys actually are and how they perform in interviews and their medicals and all that together. The teams do stick to their boards for the most part and usually don't get desperate. Even when a team does something that we might think is crazy at the time, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I mean, the example I think for it working out was the year the Browns had 2 top 5 picks, used one on Baker Mayfield and then used the other one on Denzel Ward. And everyone was like, Denzel Ward, that's such a reach. And he wound up being an all-pro player.
Yeah,
so
like
sometimes teams know more than the average fan or draftnik does, but
you think?
Yeah,
always.
So, and I think that's the lesson learned continually from the draft process is that if a team doesn't have as high a grade on a guy, they're not going to take him. They're going to take somebody else.
Somewhat to your point about knowing more than the fans do, there was some stuff that came out today about Derrick Harmon. And first of all, thoughts with Derrick Harmon, who lost his mother.
His family must be going through a lot, man.
Unbelievable range of emotions.
He was in Pittsburgh this afternoon, though. I couldn't believe he flew to Pittsburgh and was like in the facility. I was like, his mother just died.
Yeah, you guys know this, and we all know this, that everybody deals with grief differently. And you learn at some point in your life that we should never judge we should never judge others on how they deal with grief. Some people wear it on their sleeve, other people bury it deep down, and they deal with it on their own time. And like I said, range of emotions for this young man. He's drafted.
We also don't know what his last conversation with his mother was.
Correct.
And it may very well have been like, yeah, go get him. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the person you are. I'm proud of what you've become. Go get him. You don't let this hold you back. We have no idea. That's all I'm saying.
No, we don't. And but what I was getting at was the fact, and the Browns have taken the tight end out of Bowling Green,
Harold Fannin.
I like him. Productive dude, really
very productive. Led the nation in receiving.
Yeah. But some stuff was flagged with Harmon as it pertains to shoulder, rotator cuff and stuff. And look, you have to trust the Steelers medical team that they checked him over and gave Omar Khan the thumbs up, said, we're good. Let's do it. If they wouldn't have felt good about it, he wouldn't have been the pick last night. That's the way I read it anyway.
I tend to agree. I think that if they thought it was significant, that it wouldn't have, they would have flagged it, more seriously as a risk. To your point,
I hope not on television, Cliff.
To your point before about fans not knowing as much as teams know. I was told several times this week and last week that I didn't know shit, and that if the Steelers were interested in Sanders, and apparently they were because they were showing all kinds of interest, that I should just shut the fuck up. Well, guess what, dumbasses? Sometimes the Steelers throw out smoke screens, and they're not interested at all. No. So shut the fuck up. Moving on.
Well, now I hope I don't have to go back and rewind this in about 15 more picks here, Ben.
All I'm saying is they did not want him in the first round.
No, they did.
Take him in the third. I have a mid-second round grade on him. So
much more understandable if they take him in the third. Yeah,
I would see that as a pretty good value pick, but I still see him as a project quarterback who's probably going to be a backup.
The Raiders did not take Shedeur Sanders. They took Darian Porter, a cornerback.
I like that kid
that we all liked.
Long and fast, man.
Yes, damn.
Iowa State had some dudes like
Lions
Porter
and 70 with the Jags.
Okay.
Yeah.
Iowa State did. The last 2 seasons, they've kicked out quite a bit of talent.
Yeah.
When
Porter,
you really look at
both wide receivers they had, Higgins and Noel, and Yeah.
That's disappointing.
And what's his name? Will McDonald, the edge rusher who was that last year? Or no, it was 2 years ago. When we traded up in front of the Jets to take Broderick, then they took Will McDonald, who is the edge rusher from Iowa State. But no, this Porter, long, fast, and athletic. He can play.
And Steele's son is communicating with me currently, and he's talking about
Patriots took Kyle Williams.
Kyle Williams, okay, yes. Wide receiver from Washington State, right?
I really like that kid too. Yeah.
This
is unfortunate. There's gonna be a lot of players coming off the board that I'm like, I like that guy, but
I mean, when you haven't picked for like 50 picks, that happens.
Yes.
True.
But also, we got DK Metcalf, who is better than anyone we could have picked in the second round. So I'm fine with that.
Absolutely.
True. Had to pay the big contract to get him, but yeah.
Yeah, and you gotta,
So while we're talking about that, I mean,
sure.
What do you think? I think I know what the answer is going to be. What do you guys think is the likelihood that they're going to pay both, if they kept Pickens, that they would pay both he and DK Metcalf the big contract, or that Pickens would accept a contract with the Steelers as a second fiddle wide receiver on a year-to-year deal? Because that's what it would be.
Ian, go ahead.
I'm going to give it the old Blutarski, the 0.0.
I don't think so either.
I agree, Ian. The only, and I'm just making talk here as we get going, but the only thing I would say is maybe, and I'm just throwing this out there, maybe the Steelers are going to start adjusting from this. We constantly have to have the highest paid defense, and maybe we're going to invest a little more on offense. Now, I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know. My gut tells me nope, they're not going to pay him, and I still don't think they will. But I just don't see him coming. But maybe there's an adjustment in the way they're doing things, because clearly the I forgot what I was going to say. Clearly, they are in a spot where, I'm just not going to talk right now because I keep losing my track here.
He's had some drinks.
Well, I'm trying to do three things at once, and I can't do one thing at once. Jesus.
The thing I see in this situation is, one, they don't typically, never have really. I mean, you could make the argument that they paid TJ and they paid Highsmith, but Highsmith, is on a much lower tier deal, and it's year to year. Like, they could walk away from Highsmith tomorrow if they wanted to, cut him, and they're good. And it was structured that way. And so they never really pay two guys at the top of the market. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
And I see Pickens as a guy who's going to want to get paid at the top of the market. But on top of that, Pickens is not going to behave himself. That's just never going to be a thing. He's never going to be a guy who always shows up on time and says and does the right thing and, works his ass off and wants to be a good teammate and doesn't yell at fans in the stands and, doesn't do all the stupid fucking shit we've seen him do because he's got wide receiver disease.
Receiver disease.
He does, dude.
He does.
I know.
Yeah. I've seen too much of it for me to have any faith in the guy. And then Art's going to turn around and go, "You want me to give that guy big money? Really?"
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I mean, I guess based on the fact that he's still a Pittsburgh Steeler at this point tonight, that just tells me that they are willing to go through the season.
Maybe.
And they'll probably make him an offer. He's going to turn it down, and off he goes.
It could be that it'll be like last year where there's like, well, we're loading up on picks for 26 anyway. And we're not going to be a contender regardless. So
the Lions just took wide receiver Isaac Tislaw out of Arkansas. He played his college ball at a D2 here in Michigan, Hillsdale College, before he went to Arkansas. And I know a lot of people really liked him. This seems high for him. Most people had him more fourth round, but tall, good athlete, and not a total surprise that they would grab somebody like that. But there's a lot of guys that I really kind of thought the Steelers would be interested in that are going by the wayside. But That's the draft for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me get a couple of comments here. Godfather asked about Cam Scatabo. I think Scatabo, if he hangs onto the football, he could be a cult hero in Pittsburgh. The fumbling is his biggest issue. Just puts it on the ground too much, and that is not going to fly in Steel City. But I like everything else about him.
Needs to go to the Jerome Bettis clinic.
Yeah, right. And
remember, Jerome had to pull Fumato Malafala aside and be like, "Okay, you're carrying the ball wrong. You need to carry it up here like this."
Yep. And Aaron, I'm not sure who Aaron is. Aaron
Saints took Vernon Broughton.
He asks who could take Sanders before us. Well, let me scan ahead here, Aaron.
I guess technically, like the Jets could, the Colts could. That's about it.
Yeah. I mean, would you make an argument for the Niners?
Maybe they haven't extended.
No.
They haven't extended Brock Purdy
I'd say most likely to be the Jets or the Colts, though.
I would agree with that. But I can see some scenarios where some other teams might. I don't, man. Does it just mean, or does it always seem like guys that are consistently destined for like 4th or 5th round always start going in the 3rd?
Mm-hmm.
It just seems every year that we fall into that. I don't know why that is, but it feels like we've been here before.
Because it's like the NFL is better at evaluations than those of us.
Clearly. Clearly.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I truly am,
Yeah.
Couple quick thoughts.
It's almost as though quarterbacks that are taken later in the draft are less likely to be stars. I mean, I know there are some. Every once in a while it happens. Yeah. There are guys that are better than their evaluation, but by and large, the NFL is pretty good at what they do.
Yeah, typically. Well, I would hope so. They are a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They better be good at it. Well, at least some of them. Better than others.
Not the Browns, but
No. Yeah. Has there been an overly egregious pick yet in this draft? I don't really think there's been that one that you go, oh my God,
Jamar Stewart was really early.
Yep, that's fair.
That I felt like they reached because they thought they might have a need. There was one other guy.
Because normally by this time of the draft, there has been a pick that everybody's just scratching their head about.
There was one other pick I looked at, and I was like, "Why did you do that?"
Yeah,
offensive lineman in the first round, and it escapes me right now.
Banks from Texas going to New Orleans at 9.
Yeah.
No, the rumor on Banks on draft morning was that he was going to go top 10. That was happening. And so it was like, okay. But then when it happened, I was like, okay, I guess it's not that shocking. No, it was somebody else.
Booker to Dallas.
Yeah, Cliff makes a valid.
Okay,
valid
Booker to Dallas was bad only because Dallas uses a ZBS, and he's not a ZBS guard. So unless they're changing their scheme up, which maybe they are, he doesn't really fit.
Did you see the interview with him where it was with some Dallas radio station or something this morning, and I saw it on Twitter, but I guess during the pre-draft process in some interview, and it made it into Brugler's Beast, Booker mentioned, he's like, I like to make guys not enjoy playing football anymore. And so they asked him to explain that. He's like, I like to beat them up quarter after quarter after quarter and just watch that love they have for the game leave their eyes. I was like, fuck, man. That's an incredible
I saw that a little while ago. That's great.
I was like, oh, if this guy wasn't a cowboy, that's an amazing kind of attitude for an offensive lineman to have.
Landon Jackson and the Jets took as Thomas.
The big kid out of Arkansas on the edge.
Arkansas. And I think his name is actually pronounced Ezra Thomas. The cornerback from Florida State.
Zaire.
I think it's Ezra is how it's pronounced.
Okay, it works for me. Ezra, sure.
Yeah.
So we had him for a pre-draft visit.
We did.
I'm sorry, I mispronounced your baby's name that you made up.
what was I going to say? Okay, so the Saints take Broughton, defensive tackle, another one off the board to the Saints. The Landon Jackson guy, if I recall, he had a huge combine, tested off the charts. Big tall dude. And then who took Thomas?
Bills, another corner to Buffalo, right? Okay. Or was that the Jets?
Bills took Jackson. The Jets took.
Oh, Bills took Jackson. Jets took Thomas. Okay,
Thomas.
Yeah.
Hey, man, that Jets secondary is getting a little better, isn't it?
Yeah. Although, so Ezra Thomas,
Ezra. That's Ezra.
Better than Ezra.
Yeah.
That looks like 4 syllables to me, the way it's spelled.
No. Okay. However, it's pronounced Thomas.
Mr. Thomas.
When I watched him and read, the scouting report on him, I was like, this is Joey Porter Jr. all over again. It's like he's tall and lanky and super grabby all over the field, but pretty athletic. And I was like, this is JPJ all over again. We already have this guy.
Can you imagine an offense playing us in that situation? Okay, we're going to throw left and hope for a flag. If it's not there, throw right and hope for a flag.
Yeah, right. So a couple other guys, since we're talking about defensive backs that we've had some contact with. We went to Notre Dame's pro day. So Morrison, the corner, and Watts, the safety. I think Morrison might have had some injuries.
Morrison's gone, isn't he?
I
thought he got picked earlier.
Did he? I don't remember seeing him, but I could be wrong about that.
Help me out in the chat. Didn't Morrison get picked? Because he's got an unbelievable lineage in his family of athleticism, and my daughter, Tampa Bay. Thank you, Aaron. Tampa selected him.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I apologize. Okay,
you're allowed one mistake, Ian.
All right, that's my mistake.
There you go.
Watts, the safety from Notre Dame, who's a guy I like. And then also Kevin Winston, who's a guy I know Cliff liked a lot, from Penn State. We didn't have a whole lot of contact with him, and he was getting over an injury too. Yep. But his tape is pretty darn good. So there's going to be options here for us. There's some running backs still available. There's some defensive backs. So yeah, we're gonna have some choices.
Absolutely.
And obviously the quarterbacks too, between Sanders and Milroe. But I would not be shocked if we went running back. I think running back's probably the most likely here.
I think it's running back or quarterback, and it makes me a little bit nervous because I don't want the circus that comes with Shedeur Sanders. If he was just some kid who was coming out of school,
if he was like Shedeur Guggenheim, it would be fine.
Right. Yeah. Shedeur Henderson, it'd be like,
okay,
well, 3rd round on that kid. I got a 2nd round grade on him. That works. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's Deion's kid.
Let me ask you a question here. If they go quarterback in the next few minutes here, what does that suggest about Aaron Rodgers, if anything?
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
All right. I guess what I'm thinking in my head is if they truly knew that he was coming, then maybe you wait, pick a QB in the 5th or 6th, something like that. But
what I've been told is they don't know. They have no idea.
That is my understanding as well. Total limbo.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I guess you could say they're left in the dark.
Well played, sir.
Thank you.
Broncos took Pat Bryant.
Let's see. He is a wide receiver from Illinois.
Oh,
Illinois.
Yep, Illinois. Nice player. Nice player. I mean, he didn't jump out at me at all watching him.
You think that the Steelers and the
I certainly didn't see
Cowboys are on the phone right now trying to work out a trade?
You think who?
Steelers and Cowboys
for George?
I'd be fine with that.
I'm just
George
asking.
and CD on the same team.
Yeah,
just asking. Maybe like a 3rd and a 5th. A 3rd and a 5th, maybe, or like a 3rd and a 4th.
3rd and a 5th was what we traded Antonio Brown for.
True.
Yeah, that was highway robbery.
It was.
I mean, it kind of was, but they ended up cutting him, so they got nothing out of it.
Yeah.
So
right.
Yeah, I thought about that, Cliff. Cliff mentioned that Arizona, needs a backup quarterback, because their starter is usually playing Modern Warfare or something like that.
Shedeur and Kyler could podcast together.
Can you imagine? What a shit show. Oh my God.
Or live stream or whatever the kids do these days. I don't know. What's that thing where you stream yourself playing video games? Okay,
they do some twitching.
Yeah.
Switch. I thought it was
Yeah.
Switch. Switch?
Switch? Is it?
I thought it was Switch.
Fuck, I don't know. Yeah.
It's Twitch.
Twitch. I was right.
There we go. See, Mark, you got an expert there.
Okay. All right.
It is Twitch?
Yeah, you're gonna have to put it in the other ear. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Dude, you need to get some other earphones.
Okay, here's my other child. Steel son was down last night. Steel daughter is now on the program. Thank you, Glodfather. Twitch.
The Glodfather. The Glodfather. What does glazing mean? What the fuck is that?
Hey, didn't we look that up last night?
We looked that up last night. Yes.
Nobody posted it. I don't know. I was drinking.
One of our more prominent followers on X used that term this morning or last night. I found it to be quite funny. So anyway, this is Callie, and we
she has a name. It's not just Steel Daughter.
No, it's
I would like it noted that I have two.
She actually has two Steelers names. Obviously, my son is Bradshaw.
Yes.
Her name is Ian. You'll appreciate this. It's an Irish name. It's Kaylin.
Yes.
Lynn, which Lynn Swan.
Yes.
And her middle name is Joe, and you can figure that out as well. So yes, I
Joe Gillum?
my wife. Joe who?
Joe Gillum?
Well, sure. That works. Got a picture of Joe Gillum around here somewhere. In any case,
Joe Porter, obviously.
That also Joe and Joe Jr.
Yes.
Callie, so what did you think of Derrick Harmon last night? Or did you want Shedeur Sanders?
I feel like Shedeur Sanders would have been a really bad pick.
Why?
Good answer.
I don't think the egos was going to mesh well with the other egos we have on the team right now.
Well said.
I could have seen that going so poorly, especially with Pickens still being on the team. That would have been a diva off if I've ever seen one.
A diva off.
Watch.
Wow.
Oh, it would have been hysterical, but it's already going to be interesting to see how Metcalf and Pickens act around each other, considering they've both had some pretty major crash outs on the field.
I have money on DK to kick his ass. That's seriously. I bet somebody $20 would happen this year.
I'm waiting for a training camp fight. It's gonna go viral.
Mark, your daughter has better analysis than you do. Can you just let her?
Thanks, Ian. Appreciate that. Next week she'll be hosting this show. I'll just sit in the corner and get sauced. Yeah. Well,
isn't that what you usually do during the show?
No, I don't sit in the corner.
Okay.
Godfather loves Ben's shirt. I'm assuming that shirt, Ben, probably came from the strip. I believe that looks like it's from the strip.
No, it didn't come from the strip. It came from
bad.
A vendor out of Pittsburgh. I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, it just says hating Pittsburgh won't make Cleveland better.
That is accurate. Absolutely accurate. If you're interested in excellent shirts featuring some of our own stuff, Godfather, I encourage you to visit dc4lcustomtees.com.
Do they still have this one with all of our faces on it?
That's right. I had that. That was my Easter shirt.
Yeah.
That's what I wore for Easter this year.
I still can't believe that.
What's up, Yinzer Gear?
That's yeah.
Right. You make history when you get your face on a T-shirt, I suppose. Yinzer Gear in the house.
Yes.
Good evening.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks to everybody for joining us. And so, Callie, we are we're coming up on 6-7 picks here. What would you like to see?
I'm still a little annoyed that my wide receiver pick for the Steelers got taken. I was really hoping that Beck was going to be. I really like him. I thought he was good.
I mocked him to the Steelers in my first mock.
Jack Beck from
Jack
TCU.
Beck, TCU.
TCU wide receiver. I thought he was really solid. But I have one of the guys out of Iowa State as kind of like a backup.
Okay. All right. Well, Higgins is gone.
Higgins is gone. Yeah.
Noel is.
That's who I have in my mock draft.
Okay. All right. See, Ben, even she does mock drafts.
No, they're dumb.
Yeah, well, yeah. Ben's not a fan. He doesn't do fantasy sports
They're
either.
pointless.
I do it more to keep my thoughts on players organized, and I like to see
Sure.
the stats like laid out.
I get that.
I'm not a huge numbers person. I can't do math like my father, so.
Dude, you know what Ian said before about if Sanders was still on the board and they took Jalen Milroe instead?
What would be hilarious?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Ian said that earlier, that it would be hilarious if we take Milroe with Sanders still on the board. You know what? I can see it. I really can.
So
can yeah.
Okay. Patriots traded up with the Panthers.
Aaron in the chat said, my son got a toy pizza the other day and it comes with pineapple. What?
Why the hell did you buy that for him, Aaron? That's a parenting fail right there.
You know what?
Was
it is
terrible.
It really is. Shame on you, Aaron. We thought more of you.
For shame, dude.
Okay, good.
49ers draft. No.
Yeah, so what's the you said there was a trade here?
Nick Martin.
Linebacker from Oklahoma State. This is not a good inside linebacker class.
No, it's
not. I mean, there was one guy. Dude, what is with the Eagles getting all these linebackers?
It's like the Howie Roseman like has inside info or something that nobody else has. I don't know.
I'm like, how they keep getting away with this?
Especially SEC guys. They basically only scout SEC guys, I swear.
Pretty much just Alabama and Georgia. It's like they watched that national championship game and we're like, we want all these guys. Let's go get them.
Yep.
So the Patriots traded up with the Panthers.
So who did Dallas take?
Dallas.
I missed that.
I don't know. It's the pick is in. That's all it says. So they picked the Cowboys. Just says Cowboys in the club.
The NFL must be doing something stupid on the stage. That's why the delay's going on.
That could be.
I mean, Dallas.
Or they're running ads, dude. I mean, you know.
I saw someone.
They've got to stagger things out. I mean, we knew 10 minutes before the pick last night that it was Derrick Harmon.
Yeah.
We knew.
That's a good pick for Dallas.
Cowboys. Cowboys
Revel.
took.
That's a nice pick.
I like it.
Nobody's tipped it, huh?
Yeah, no, it just popped up on NFL.com.
Yep, I see it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say again. Must have.
Panthers are not on the clock. Says they are. What the hell? Did the Panthers trade up and I got it backwards?
No, I think the Patriots traded up. They just haven't flipped it on the screen yet.
Right.
But the Patriots already took a running back.
Panthers did trade up.
Oh,
Panthers. Okay. Patriots traded out of 77. They picked up 85 and 146. And the Patriots obviously moved back. Panthers get at 77. Yeah, I'm running the mouth now, so I'm going to shut up.
Yeah, well, does anyone jump off a bridge in Pittsburgh tonight if Sanders is the pick?
I mean, come on, dude. Really?
Don't get too worked up over a third-round pick.
Right. Like, it's not like they're burning a first-round pick on the guy. Like that, you should be worried about. Like, if they didn't learn their fucking lesson with Kenny Pickett.
No, but understand,
then you should be upset. But, I mean, a third-round pick?
I get that, but I'm not even looking at the number next to his name, third round, fourth. I don't even care about that. Look at what you're getting when he comes in. He's going to get more attention than anybody else on that team. He will get more attention than
he's going to try and do what AB used to do, which is have his own social media team.
Yes.
At practice.
Yes.
Remember?
Mm-hmm.
AB used to bring his social media team
to
practice with him at training camp.
Yeah. Yeah, Juju was essentially his own social media team, you know,
He was.
and that was driving people crazy. So can you imagine what it looks like when he shows
and
up?
Rightfully
with 10 people?
so,
right?
And rightfully so, dude. I mean, come on.
The Panthers traded up to select the edge rusher out of Ole Miss, Princely Umanmielen.
Yes.
How do you say that?
Umanmielen? Let's just go with Princely U.
That's a good
all
one.
name team on this draft.
Oh boy, you're not kidding, man. There's been some doozies tonight. So let's see. Cardinals are up next.
Let's hope the Cardinals go ahead and take Sanders as the backup quarterback here.
Backup QB right there.
I mean, Indy could take him. Also,
They could. I honestly, like, if somebody took Milroe now and we couldn't get him.
Oh God.
Because Shuck is gone, and that was the other quarterback they liked.
Yes, he was the one I had here. I thought he was going to be our guy. I had no idea he would go that high. Shoot, what about the Bengals for Sanders?
Nah, doesn't fit.
Backup Joe.
They need an entire defense.
Unless
I know that.
Unless they're going to put him at slash wide receiver slash quarterback. No.
Yeah. Do we have a pick yet for the Cards? Pick's been in since popped up here, but nothing as of yet. Entire defense is true. They really do. Trey Hendrickson was another guy we talked a little bit about last night in terms of maybe he would be moved after they drafted an edge rusher. Right. So nothing yet.
Why are they reporting Texans picks?
Yeah.
The Texans took Jalen Knoll, so we know that, but we don't know who the Cardinals took.
The other Iowa State wide receiver.
Yep.
Damn.
See?
I mean, I'm not
so
I
like
had him going high,
right?
Or at least a third.
Nope, you had round, that was a good. Yep, you had
Nobody has picked. Nobody has tipped the Cardinals pick, but we know the Texans pick already.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Pick. So we know the Texans, but we don't know the Cardinals, who are ahead of the Texans.
Correct.
Interesting.
I mean, it's ridiculous the way they stagger this thing. Just report the picks if they come off. Come on.
Right. Well, I some guy on social media today, I don't know who he is, but I paused and I watched it. He had a wonderful rant about the NFL draft, just how, the whole thing has become so just overblown with pomp and circumstance and just the majority of fans don't care about that shit. Let's see the picks. Let's hear the analysis. By the way, guys, I have now started tuning in. I would much rather listen to Nick Saban do the analysis of these guys than I would Mel Kiper or I think Booger does a good job. I think Reddick does a good job.
Last night made an ass of himself.
Oh, he was embarrassing last night.
It was like, dude, it's time to take a step back.
I
you take your opinions a little bit too seriously.
Right.
Jesus.
Right.
Self-righteous douchebag.
Goodell was apparently on a radio show this morning, and
he was on McAfee, I think.
McAfee, he said that they need to shrink this down. He says it's too long. Yeah. Which I applaud.
Part of it is the commercial breaks, right? Like in the top 10 picks, they had a commercial break after pick number 5, after pick number 7, then after pick number 8. So I know these networks have to get commercial breaks in, and they want to do the stuff where they bring the guy, especially for the first rounders, where they bring the guy up and they announce it.
And that's all. If I were a young man and I were drafted in the first round, and I heard some blowhard like me talking about this, I'd say, screw you. This is what I've worked for my whole life. And he would have every right to say that. And so, first round, I don't have a problem with that kind of stuff. It's just the silliness that kind of goes on with it. And Aaron can probably speak to it better than we can, because he went to the draft last year. I think he went on day 2. But there's so much downtime. I don't know. It would drive me nuts.
So next year when it's in Pittsburgh, we're all going to drink with all our fans, right? We're going to have a thing.
Well, we got to find a place, because there's not going to be anywhere near the stadium available. What were you going to say?
We'll figure it out.
I will say before I came down, they
Yeah.
didn't even show the first 3 picks of the 3rd round on TV because they were doing like a bit on like with some of the announcers with Saban and all of them.
Yeah.
So I didn't even see, like, they just went through and showed like a clip reel of the first
Cardinals
3
pick.
guys they took in the 3rd round. And before that, it was a 10-minute, they did a military salute and played the full version of the Lee Greenwood song. And they just panned around to the audience showing people singing along with it. And half of them were so drunk they didn't even know the words.
Neat. Cardinals
Well,
took Jordan Birch.
That's been on every Sunday. But
Sure,
yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, it's
So the Cardinals
took Jordan Birch.
Edge from Oregon. Again, another guy I don't know that I saw going quite this high.
Steel Daughter, have you heard about how Ben once yelled at a guy in a wheelchair?
Oh yeah, that's actually a true story.
Ben's the worst.
Hey,
Has my dad ever told the story of how I shoved an old lady to get Hines Ward's autograph at training camp? Because
No, but that was worth it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so worth it. I was 8 and I was not going to be deterred from getting that man's autograph.
She
And I
was
have no
not.
Regrets.
She was not.
no,
You raised
that
your
was-
daughter well, Mark.
Well,
Good
it
job.
was more her mother because just moments before, her mother essentially assaulted 40 or 50 people to get to the fence to get Cowher's autograph.
That's true.
It probably took all of about 8 seconds. She disappeared into the crowd. I thought I had lost my wife forever. Then she came back out and she goes, "Here." She hands me my hat and it's got Cowher's autograph. I think she got did she get like a hug from him too or something? I can't remember. She knows the story
No,
better.
he said he looked at mom and said, "You're so pretty." And he gave her a hug and signed
That's
her
what it was.
autograph. And
That's
she
what it
like,
was.
Coach Cowher said, "I'm pretty."
That's-
Deal
yeah.
with that.
Yeah, which I've been dealing with for 25
Yeah,
years.
you have.
Hello, Rocky Stone Cipher. That's the most greatest name I've ever seen. Asking about Milroe. I'm telling you what, Rocky, we think it's very possible Milroe could be the guy here.
I think it'll be hilarious if he is. I will laugh my fucking ass off.
Absolutely. And
But I wouldn't mind seeing a running back either. That would
nor I.
I would be pretty stoked actually. I'd be like, yeah. A running back will contribute this year. Jalen Milroe, we're talking. What do you think? 2 years at least before, like he's going to be a number 3 quarterback for
yes,
a
he'd
while.
be your number 3.
Yeah.
You know, I that doesn't necessarily mean that Skylar Thompson's your number 2 because they always bring in a 4th guy.
No,
which if they do draft a QB, that 4th guy would definitely be a veteran.
I still think our starter is going to be Aaron fucking Rodgers, but you know,
Unfortunately.
I really do.
Rubber meets the road. You're probably right. I don't know, but there. Yeah, Ian, you've let me post this here real quick.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to guess, we're 4 picks away here. So if I had to pick 4 guys that I thought were the highest probability,
And the Bengals are on the clock.
Yeah.
I would say Justin Wally to the Colts. Wow. We brought him in for a pre-draft visit.
We did. He's
corner from Minnesota.
He's a nice player, but he really.
I didn't think he would go on day 2. I thought he was more of like a 4th or 5th round.
Yes, absolutely.
Guy.
I gotta eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, go get some to eat.
If
we'll be here a while.
If we go off the board here, Xavier Watts, safety from Notre Dame. We went to his pro day, so I liked him a lot and what he did on film. The other name I'll throw out there, and actually Joe mentioned him earlier tonight in the chat, Wyatt Millam, the offensive lineman from West Virginia, he can kind of play multiple positions on the line, and we don't necessarily need a starter right now, but we also could use some depth at every position on the line. I think Millam played both guard and tackle for West Virginia. And could probably play either one. And he's another one of those short arm tackles, right? That's like he's a tackle, but he's got
it's
short
the
arms.
year of short arm tackles.
So maybe he's better at guard. But we brought him in for a pre-draft visit, so I wouldn't be stunned if we took him. You know, probably isn't what everyone's thinking with quarterback or running back, but just throwing some more names out there. We mentioned Savion Williams, the wide receiver from TCU.
Yeah, he's still there too.
Yeah, but I really feel like it's running back here with how many running backs we brought in for pre-draft visits between Johnson, Sampson, Jaden Blue from Texas, Bashal Tootin from West Virginia, and Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State, and DJ Giddens from Kansas State. Like,
seems like it would be one of them, right?
It seems like, yeah, they've loved to draft guys that they brought in for pre-draft visits.
So the Bengals drafted Fairchild, the guard out of Georgia. Tennessee claims the pick is in, and then that means we're on the clock. So this is likely going to happen very, very quickly here because we usually don't fart around. We usually get the pick right in. But well, this is interesting, to say the least. I will also go running back. I think Aaron made a good point in the chat. I think you can still get a guy like Will Howard, perhaps in the 4th round.
You might be able to get Shedeur Sanders or Jalen Milroe in the 4th, the way this thing's going.
And like Titans took Kevin Winston.
Oh shit!
You know what? Good for him. Great pick. If he doesn't get hurt, that young man probably was bottom of the 1st round. Let's see. Like the birth of a child in a tub. Jen.
Hey, I've done that before.
Yes, yeah. Well, when you have 50 kids, Ian, and you're bound to do one like that.
Speaking as a member of the Accidental Home Birth Club.
Oh, man. So the Titans take Winston, so that means the black and gold.
Hey, Burner's here.
Burner is in.
Kaleb Johnson, that's a good pick.
Kaleb Johnson.
Good
okay,
pick.
So Sanders gets passed over again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kaleb Johnson is I'll just say this and then I'll leave it to you guys for more analysis. I think he fits exactly what Arthur Smith likes to do. He's the one cut in that zone blocking, the one cut go downhill that we didn't necessarily get from Najee that we needed to. So Ben, what do you think? Kaleb Johnson.
I like the pick. I'm sorry, but he's more of a Jalen Warren-esque kind of a back than Najee, who's a strictly between the tackles guy.
Yeah.
Najee's got to be pissed off, speaking of that the Chargers took Marion Hampton. He's got to be unfucking happy. It's definitely a 1-year stay for him there.
Well, but just real quick on him, do you think at the same time that might lessen his load a little bit, maybe make him a little more effective over the course of the game? I'm just spitballing.
He got lighter last year.
Yeah, he did.
In an effort to get quicker, and it didn't work.
No.
I just think he came into the league with too many miles. And, there are guys like Derrick Henry that can do that. But they're few and far between. They aren't.
Yes.
That is the exception and not the rule. That guy is superhuman.
Yeah. Did anyone get a visualization of Burner's comment? Sanders is a 6-pack of ass. Yeah.
I mean, a 6-pack of ass is kind of a good thing.
Well, that's what I mean. There's two ways of viewing that. And one is good. One is not.
I would say Sanders is a 6-pack of bum piss, but that's a little different.
Right. Burner says that's a lot of ass. Yeah.
All right, so Kaleb Johnson, Johnson ran for 1,500 yards last year at Iowa, 21 touchdowns. Doesn't necessarily have like great long speed, but he ran an outside zone scheme there, which is a lot more of what Arthur Smith wants to do with that stupid ass pitch play and just the general blocking scheme, right? And Iowa has always run the ball a lot. And in addition to that, he's a true junior and is only 21 years old. So we talked the kind of the inverse of Najee coming into the league with all those miles on him is Kaleb Johnson being a young guy who doesn't have a ton of carries, doesn't have a ton of mileage on him. Like this year was his only year as a full-time starter. The last couple of years he was a rotational guy for Iowa, and I like this pick. He's a very solid guy and no fumbles in 2024. So, good hands. Probably not the best guy out of the backfield, but like you said, Mark, those one cut runs, those outside zone plays, being able to see the hole and hit the hole, and he's tough. He's a big dude. 6'1", 225. Wait, hold on. Am I reading this right? All right. So at the combine, he was 6'1", 224, and at his pro day, he was 234. So he put on 10 pounds between the combine and his pro day.
And I think we all know Mike is not going to want him playing at that weight.
No. That seems. Huh.
These guys drink a ton of water before the weigh-ins and try and get as heavy as they possibly can.
Yeah.
And then they go pee it all out.
Just a couple other things here. Rattel is talking about he's not crazy about the pick, and that's what we love about this show, because we don't all agree, and we don't want all of you guys to all agree either.
No, let's have a conversation.
Exactly. Yeah, that's just not human nature. So you have a conversation, and I get it. Tootin has tons of speed. Giddens is kind of a jack of all trades type. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm going to trust that this is predominantly a scheme fit type of thing in the selection here. And then Steve mentioned in the chat too, maybe Sanders is in trouble for something we don't know about. That is also possible. It would not be the first time. I don't think he is, but yeah. And again, Rattel, to your point, man, I don't disagree. I want guys that can take it to the house every time they touch the ball. Mm-hmm. The raw speed that you see in so many other players on other teams. So,
Brugler's got a second-round pick on Kaleb Johnson.
Yeah, he was his third-ranked running back.
Yeah, he was. I liked Henderson better personally, but
yeah. Oh, yeah. I liked Henderson from the aspect of home run ability, and the dude can pass block like a son of a gun.
The dude does everything pretty well.
Yep.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah. Johnson, I think, is going to have to work on some pass blocking, if I'm not mistaken. Waiting to get the graphic from Aaron. I know he must be working on it right now. Then I'll get that out to our socials. Yeah, Burner, the Browns did. Yeah, they got Judkins. They got a pounder. But, that's the draft. Our division rivals are going to get some good players. And it's up to Mike Tallman and company to coach up our players a little bit better than theirs. Yeah. Except for Kenny Pickett. That's right, Steel Daughter.
It is the Browns, though. They'll find a way to fuck it up. I have faith.
Typically. Yep. You just kind of take a couple of breaths, and usually that happens. The Buccaneers follow the Steelers. They take cornerback Jacob Parrish out of Kansas State. Aaron said he was out. Aaron, what is there to do there in Ohio on a Friday? I mean, were you at the Dum Dum factory painting the factory walls or something? Were you doing graffiti?
Finger painting.
Yeah. Were you climbing the water tower there? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get that. So how many more picks do we have until the end of the round here?
Got a couple comp picks at the end too.
Yep.
Yeah. Johnson had a couple receiving touchdowns this year too. So I don't see him as primarily he's not a third down back. This is more of a workhorse, grinded out kind of guy. But I think it's a pretty good compliment to Jaylen Warren too. That you don't need Kaleb Johnson to come in and be your every down back. Like, you can split carries between Johnson and Warren and probably, get some things out of both of them. Both of those guys can be outside zone runners. And yeah, I think I like the pick. I think it's a very good value pick at this point in the draft at a position of need also. So I think it fills both of those.
Just real quick, Rocky, if you're new to the show, we have a lot of fun with people from Ohio. It's all in jest. So if you are in Ohio, we do still like you.
It's not in jest.
Right. Mostly it's not in jest. I was trying to be nice.
Especially people like Aaron in particular.
Right. Dom, by the way, Ohio, Dom jumps in. What, no house parties there in State College tonight, Dom? What's going on, man?
Dom and Cliff did an amazing job with all of our draft articles on the site. And not just the draft articles, but like I felt like I was more informed this draft process than I have been the last couple from the conversation that they brought on our Slack chat.
Question.
Like I felt like we had a lot better conversation this year than we did in a few prior years. So Dom and Cliff, thank you both. Much appreciated.
Yes, excellent work. And Rocky, we love that you listen on your way to work. Hopefully you don't go off the road due to any of our bad takes or anything like that. So please drive safely. And Dom says the bars are rocking. Okay, well, Dom, we appreciate you spending your evening with us, as we do everyone. Matter of fact, Chiefs take cornerback Noel Williams out of Cal, and Chargers are up next. Well, actually, it says the pick is in, and then the Pack back on the clock. I don't know about you guys on a quick separate note before we get back to Kaleb Johnson here. Watching some of the guys that are brought out to announce the selections, I felt incredibly old tonight. Tim Crumry was brought out. I still remember him breaking his leg in the Super Bowl against the Niners. That was like Super Bowl, 21? I can't even remember. 18? I mean, so I'm like, holy crap, am I old? But in any case.
You are.
Yeah, thank you. Ben, so what's your overall take on Kaleb Johnson here? I mean, is this something you like, you love, you are like good with it?
I like it. This is I'm sorry, a Najee Harris comp. Like he's not a burner.
Nope.
He's not gonna run away from the defense. But when you need 3 yards, he's gonna get you 3.5, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I feel about it. I don't think it's a great pick necessarily, but I think it's a good pick. It's a solid pick at this point in the draft, and I'm fine with it. I really am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. It fits what Mike Tomlin likes to do.
I agree with Burner that I really like Kevin Winston Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And especially I think as a value pick at this point in the draft, that would have been nice.
Mm-hmm.
But we really need offense a lot more. And so when you're comparing guys and all things being equal, then you do lean toward need. And that's kind of where you're at right now. There's not a lot of difference between these guys from a value standpoint. So it's like, there aren't a lot of guys that are still like high value guys that are sitting on the board. So what I think is going to happen now is the first 2 days of the draft are going to pass, and Sanders isn't getting drafted.
No,
it's clearly we talked about it being the story this morning. Yeah, if it holds this way and he doesn't get drafted tonight, it's going to be the story. Period. Of this draft.
Do you guys think that Mel Kiper is going to have a stroke?
I think that he's going to perhaps stroke out and fall face first into his bowl of Count Chocula cereal.
No, seriously, man. Like, should somebody call the EMTs just to be on?
Well, maybe. I mean, the way he behaved last night, I would have had the EMTs on standby.
That was embarrassing, man.
It was.
I'm not him. Like I said, I have a lot of respect for Mel Kiper because he started this whole thing.
Yes, he did. He's the godfather.
Draft analysis, and he created his own lane. Like that's him. And what the fuck was that last night? God, that was embarrassing.
Yeah,
not even like that big a fan of the guy. Like, and I'm just like, dude, my heart hurts for you. Because at least I respect you a little.
Right.
Or I did.
So round 4, quarterback.
Hey, if Milroe is still there in round 4, or even Kyle McCord, like I would take a flyer on either of those guys in the 4th. It's a 4th round pick. Like,
yeah.
McCord is a better product now.
Yes.
So he's got the higher floor, but Milroe's got that ridiculously high ceiling. Like if he could figure it out, he could be special. But
no doubt,
the question is, how long would it take? Like he's so raw. Somebody wrote, if Malik Willis coming into the league was on a scale of 1 to 10, his readiness level was like a 4. Then Milroe is a 2. And I'm like,
yeah, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, at least Milroe played in the SEC and like saw some actual defenses, whereas Malik Willis played at Liberty. And
I mean, when you're that good an athlete, that's the thing about college.
Wow, the Chargers took Jamari Caldwell from Oregon.
Another one that had 6th round mostly.
Yeah, I was like, we had him in for a pre-draft visit. I thought he was a guy we might take in the 6th round. And double dip on Oregon,
5th, 6th round.
Yeah.
Well, but you know what though? Look who took him, and that's a Jim Harbaugh pick. There's no doubt in my mind. Rattel mentioned Savion Williams in the 4th round. If he's still there, I can see it.
Yeah.
But they have to, all things being equal, whether Rodgers decides to come out of the dark or not, it doesn't matter. We got to add to that QB room.
Yeah. And honestly, at this point, like going into day 3, like any quarterback on day 3 is not going to be a starter.
The Jaguars just traded up.
They're not going to be, so whether it's Milroe or Sanders or McCord or Will Howard or Riley Leonard or like any of those guys, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't take Riley Leonard in the 4th round, but like if we wind up with like Riley Leonard in the 6th round, I'm not gonna be like, oh, we wasted a 6th round pick. Like it's a 6th round pick, whatever. Yeah. Like he has a little bit of upside and maybe could turn into a future backup. Like all these guys are probably just future backup quarterbacks at best. I mean, maybe Milroe, because of his athleticism, if he figures out how to throw a ball with accuracy and timing, could maybe potentially be a future starter. But like, other than that, Sanders doesn't have the arm strength. McCord has the cojones, but not the arm strength. Like McCord,
right. He does.
Got balls, though, dude.
He does. That's what I said.
McCord's got balls, great big balls, man. You're like,
he's got big balls.
Marshall's daughter is there. What do you?
He is the more talented.
Her mother's Italian. You don't think she hears worse?
The more talented version of Duck Hodges. That is McCord.
Yes, that is. Yes,
that dude's just like, yeah, whatever. It looks like he probably is open.
Oh, the Packers took Savion Williams. Wow, they double dipped at wide receiver.
You gotta go out and
You want me to get you a beer?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's in the little refrigerator in the garage, but you got to go to the way back.
I can't believe the Packers double dipped at wide receiver.
Thank you.
Wow. And because I mean, they've got Jaden Reed and they've got, what's his name? The big kid from Watson from North Dakota State. Yeah. And so they took Golden in the 1st round, and now Savion Williams in the Packers are loaded at wide receiver. Aaron Rodgers has to be pissed though. I'd be like, drafted wide receivers when I was there.
It always happens though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh man.
When you have a quarterback though, you can get away with that. Yeah. I mean,
I think Burner has been looking at my mock draft. Elijah Roberts was a guy. I had Ricky White in there. I like both those dudes.
Think about all the mid-round guys that mid look like superstars.
Oh,
when you have a really good quarterback, you don't necessarily have to invest in high-round wide receivers.
Speaking of that, who was your favorite non-star receiver during the Ben era? Oh, geez, Ben, I'm losing you. You're kind of
far and away.
Who?
Jericho Kochery.
Yeah,
Jericho
that was going to be mine too. Yeah, I was upset when we let him go.
Well, I mean,
a ton of money though.
He got a good deal to leave.
No, he did, and it was.
He got a good deal to leave.
I'm guessing he sent a nice thank you card to Ben for that too.
Yeah,
but no, I hated to see.
He
him
got
go
a really good. He got a good deal to leave. And Darius Hayward-Bay was, again, he was a guy I liked. He just did all the dirty work on special teams, and if you needed something, you needed a couple of catches a game, he was there.
Yeah.
He was a good run blocker. You like guys like that do all the dirty work, and you're like, yeah, all right. So
I'll tell you what, Nate Washington
having
was
a beer with us, or is she like just sitting over there?
She went to fetch a beer for Steel Dad.
Is she having a beer herself or no?
I can. I'm legal.
She's more than legal, so yeah, that's her choice.
I figured as old as you are, she's probably about 30.
Yeah, what are you, 25 now?
Yes, Dad.
Yeah, 25. So she's been legal for a while.
I was thinking earlier too about the whole Sanders thing while I was grabbing on the beer run. Isn't the other Sanders brother Shiloh eligible for the draft too?
He is.
I feel like it'll be an even bigger story or crash out in the family if he goes over his brother.
That would be hilarious.
Amazing.
Because that would be publicly said that he ranks his children as favorites. That is going to solidify the family ranking for ever.
How'd you like to be at that Christmas dinner?
What a dick.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it because I remember I just saw something about his brother making a joke like, what happens if they pick over me over you?
Did you see the wrestling movie about the Von Erichs?
Oh, we haven't watched it yet, but we want to because
the dad openly admits to all of his boys that there's a ranking system. There are 4 of them. And he's like, yeah, everybody knows that he's my favorite, and he's second, and he's third, he's fourth. But hey, the rankings could change at any time.
Maybe that's why they were so cursed.
You guys need to keep working. I'm like, Jesus, dude, you really said that shit to your sons? Oh my God.
Yeah, I can see it. Jeez, I'm stunned. Aaron watched a wrestling movie. There's a shocker.
I was shocked too. He probably went to the theater for that matter. It was like, I can't wait for it to come out on cable.
Premiere night, no doubt.
I gotta go.
Oh, no, the Jags just took Millham. Shit.
I tell my kids that my favorite one is whoever is whining the least in the current moment. Like, whoever's complaining the least is my favorite kid.
Oh, man. Was Kuiper on ESPN tonight? Because I had it on... I had it on the college game day.
Did they pull him
before I came down? I'm just wondering if they haven't escorted Kuiper off.
I wonder seriously, did they pull him because they were like that? People got called in and said, "Hey, we're worried about him. He might have a medical emergency."
I don't know.
I'm just putting it out. Like I'm really seriously I'm wondering.
Aaron, we attack you because we love you, brother. You know this. Now you. There. I did that for Aaron. I don't know if
you're Aaron.
There's another one. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh yeah. Hey, Aaron.
Do you think Aaron remembers the Hulk Hogan intro song from the 80s? Remember when wrestling used to be on at 11:30 at night? And when it would replace Saturday Night Live in the summer, something was, I am a real American, fight for the rights of every. I'll bet you he knows that song.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
So I had a buddy in college. I've told you guys this story before, but it's draft night, so whatever. I had a buddy in college who was really into wrestling. So he gave every guy in our fraternity some wrestler's theme song. And his room faced out into the parking lot. So when we'd walk through the parking lot into the building, he would put his computer speakers by the window and play our theme song as we were walking into our fraternity house. It was pretty cool.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It was like your own personal walk-up song.
It was great. Yeah, it was like our own walk-up music. Yeah.
That's
So mine was mine was the original Randy Orton music. So
love it.
Yeah.
Ransaw?
The
Jaguars took Ransaw?
Nope,
No.
took White Millum.
No, the
No,
Jaguars
they took Ransaw first.
No,
they took Ransaw first, then they took White Millum next.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm sorry. I didn't see they had back-to-backs. My bad.
Rattel, I think they traded up. Yeah, Burning My Light, Aaron. That was my song, was Burning My Light.
Yeah.
But the
Ratbirds are on the clock, and apparently the Chargers pick is in.
What are the Rats looking for?
Something good.
Criminals,
likely.
I mean, they took Mike Green.
They draft well, man.
They do. That's what I mean. I mean, if I'm them, why not add another receiver?
Yeah,
they are Isaiah Bond's available. They already took Mike Green.
There
why
you
not?
go.
They are exceedingly bad at drafting wide receivers, dude. Like the Steelers should just go ahead and sign DBs.
Yes.
The Ravens should just go ahead and sign wide receivers and never draft them because they suck at drafting them.
So they should trade for George Pickens, is what you're saying.
That is what I'm saying. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
First round pick.
If you trade in the division, you have to ask for like higher picks. There's no doubt.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of wide receivers, though, Rattel in the chat mentioned Elik Ayumanor from Stanford, who has some really nice like contested catches. Doesn't really have the speed to run away from guys, but he can catch the ball in traffic.
Yeah.
And I think we met with him at the combine. So
yes, and he was projected, maybe a second round guy early in the process, but he kind of fell off a little bit.
Yeah. A lot of the guys that we brought in for visits though have like gone off the board. So tomorrow's gonna be interesting.
Do you have that to pull up right now?
Who we brought in?
Yeah. I'm curious to see of the 30 that we have. Well, 31 with Millum, but the 30 that we had. Just curious to see who's left.
All right. Hold on a second here. I made my all right here. All right. Okay, this one's super messy.
No, that's all right.
All right. So this was the guys in yellow. This was organized by position, but the guys in yellow were the ones that we brought in for pre-draft visits. And then the guys in blue are the ones where Tomlin was at their pro day. And then the guys in orange, Andy Weidel was at their pro day. And the ones in light blue, we met with them at the combine.
Okay. So looking at the gold ones here, obviously Sanders, Sampson, and Sampson we can probably take off of that since we just drafted
Ian,
Johnson.
When you do the strike through on
they've been picked.
I understand. When you do the strike through on the other page, does it automatically strike through here as well?
No. I may have missed a couple on the strike through.
I was just gonna say, is Farmer still available?
Yeah, Farmer has not been picked.
Okay. All right.
Which is kind of a
JJ Pegues out of Ole Miss is a guy that we liked.
I think Farmer's like a true nose,
dude.
Though.
Jalen Milroe is still in the green room.
Oh God,
he was really back there tonight?
Yep.
That poor kid.
Wow. I can't believe he went back tonight. Because like remember who was it? Geno Smith was there the first night.
Joey Porter.
Yeah.
He was in the green room the first night. He's like, fuck this, I'm going home. He got pissed. He called his agent. We're flying home. And then they called him the next day and said, hey, we're drafting you. And he's like, I'll be over there in a minute. Drove over.
Yeah.
But if you look at these defensive
Rams,
Josiah Stewart, the edge from Michigan, kind of undersized, but a good player. But if you look at the defensive tackles, though.
Okay. Oh wait, Noel Williams was taken.
Pegues, you got the kid from was that Iowa, Black, Harrison Hunt. They're still plus Elijah Roberts. I mean, if we don't go quarterback, that might be an option in the fourth. Then is one of those defensive tackles again, double up.
Honestly, if Farmer from Florida State is still there, he's like a true nose, and noses only play 25% of the game. But I mean, we talked about this last night too. we have two guys on the, I guess three technically with Loudermilk, but Benton, Logan Lee, who we drafted last year, and Loudermilk are the only three guys that are under 30 years old in that defensive line room. So now drafting Harmon, but like we got to get younger in that room. And
Ben, you might know this better than us, but do they seem to like Logan Lee more than I would have thought?
I think they like his potential.
Okay.
And they don't
know
what
6th round pick. So
yeah. But they liked his potential. They wanted to see what he can become, and they didn't see anything last year because he wasn't healthy.
Right. Yeah, I was just curious because they talk pretty positively about him. Not that they would talk negatively about a player, but they just seem to be a little more on the up with him. The Ravens took a guard from LSU, Emory Jones Jr.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. They were getting a little long in the tooth there in the guard position, if I remember correctly.
Ratbirds.
I know they had Ben Cleveland on one side, who's fairly young, but I thought the other side they were starting to get older. So next up is the Seahawks.
Buzzards. The Sea Buzzards are going to take who?
Sea Buzzards. Let's see. Boy, Saints on the clock again too. And then the Browns.
Yep. And the Saints already took their quarterback. They got shocked in the second round.
As did the Browns, right?
Right. No, the Browns have not taken a quarterback, but Shedeur said he wasn't going to play
fuck
for
this. The Seahawks took Jalen Milroe.
Oh,
God damn it.
Oh no. Did they really?
Wow.
Sons of bitches. Well, I mean, the Steelers left him on the board. It's pretty much their fault.
Yeah.
That's a good value pick. You can't. I mean, I don't blame Seattle there.
No.
But that's the fourth quarterback taken, and Shedeur is still on the board.
Yeah. Are they? I don't have the either the NFL Network or the ESPN feed in front of me, but are they giving us still the live shots of Dion sitting in front of his pool and stuff during these picks?
I've not seen any.
Okay. At this point, I'm afraid that guy's just going to go like walk straight into his fountain or his pool. Poor guy. I like the Milroe pick for Seattle because I'm not a huge Darnold fan. And, you're going to at least give Milroe a year to sit behind him. I think Darnold's okay. Don't get me wrong. But I think that's a good spot for Milroe.
Yeah. I think the one challenge there is that you have to run a completely different offense with Milroe than you do with Darnold.
And that's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, and we've all said that Lamar became Lamar because Baltimore was willing to completely redesign their offense.
No doubt.
To fit what Lamar did well. And they've gone through multiple offensive coordinators as Lamar has progressed in his skill sets. And to his credit, Lamar has gotten a lot better at a lot of things. And when Lamar came out, there were things he wasn't good at, and he's gotten better at them, and he's worked hard at it. And Baltimore's brought in multiple coordinators who have helped him in that progression. But I think actually Art Rooney talked about this of having quarterbacks in the room who could do the same kind of thing, so you didn't have to change your offense when you went to a backup quarterback. And honestly, if Mason Rudolph is our quarterback, well, all right, if Aaron Rodgers is our quarterback, we're running the Aaron Rodgers offense, which is whatever he wants to run, not whatever Arthur Smith wants to run, which is why it was dumb to get into bed with that guy to begin with, because if Arthur Smith put the handcuffs on Russell Wilson and said, Russ, you can't run this shit because you got to run what I want to run, what's he going to do with Aaron Rodgers, who only wants to run the Aaron Rodgers offense? So that's the Aaron Rodgers thing's been dumb from the beginning. It's still dumb now, and it's going to continue to be dumb until he decides to retire.
Artie Smith
that
grew
said,
a beard.
Scarf's got to grow a beard now?
Oh, no.
All right. That said, right, with Darnold and Milroe, if you transition from Darnold into Milroe in 2 years, if Darnold gets hurt this year, completely different types of skill sets. Darnold's not a running quarterback. Milroe's best asset is his ability to run. I mean, you watched some Alabama games last year, and you're like, this is the fastest guy on the field, and he's the quarterback. He's outrunning angles, doing all this. And all reports on Milroe is he's a tremendous guy off the field, in the locker room, all that other stuff. He's just not a good
family, smart kid, busts his ass.
Yeah, it's just
character.
That not was one of the reasons I was like, of the football.
I was like, okay, well, he's not developed yet, but he's a good person and he's going to work hard. Maybe this is a good shot. Maybe they should do this.
And I'll be honest too. I was kind of hopeful that if the Steelers did take him, that they would create a few packages for him. Just while he's learning the offense and everything else. And allow him to use his athleticism. And I'm curious, you guys make good points about the fact that he couldn't be much more different than Sam Darnold. Maybe that's what Seattle's planning to do. While he's learning, you use him for a special package or something, and that's that. So Rattel apparently upset with someone named Luca, referring to a song, I think by what was her name? Chapman. My name is Luca, live on the second floor, something like that. He's watching basketball.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Special package. Whoa,
you said it, Mark.
I know.
But so to go back to what I was talking about with quarterbacks, though, I mean, we've got Mason Rudolph this year, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but if you want a quarterback that can run a similar offense to Mason Rudolph, then like Kyle McCord or Will Howard are better options as a backup to the guy we currently have.
You aren't going to have to change much.
No, neither of those. Mason Rudolph is not a good NFL starting quarterback. He's a okay NFL starting quarterback, but he's not good.
Right.
I would go so far as to say that he's an okay backup.
Well, yeah. Okay. Fair. Fair. Actually, I would say, all right, now we're into semantics, but I would say
Ian Rappaport just pointed out that the Geno Smith trade lands Seattle, the Seahawks, Jalen Milroe. So not necessarily a terrible trade as trades go.
No, because Geno's 34 years old or something like that. So no, maybe not.
Yeah, and he hit his ceiling. At this point, he's not going to get better. He's probably going to get worse over time. So it's like, okay, well, if this is what do you pay that guy whatever $40 million a year, whatever the fuck he wanted?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just to update everybody, the Saints took safety out of Virginia, Jonas Sanker. Pretty solid player, smart kid. Yeah.
Also shares a name with Ryan's son.
Indeed.
Oh, the Browns took Dylan Gabriel. Wow.
You gotta be shitting.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That's 5 quarterbacks taken, and Shedeur's still on the board.
Well, Shedeur said he wouldn't play for Cleveland, so I mean, if a guy says he's not going to play for you, you take him off your board, right?
I agree, Ian. I agree,
and that's a really dumb thing to say about a team that needs a quarterback,
right? I mean, literally, Shedeur could have gone in there and been challenged for that job.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Flacco, Pickett. I mean, come on.
Gabriel's like 30 years old. He's like AARP eligible.
He's 26, right?
He's not much younger than Shock is.
He spent like 7 years in college.
Yeah.
I think he was on that Central Florida team that won a national championship. Won a national championship, wasn't he?
I don't know. Dude, the dude is 5'11", okay? Do I think he probably can play if you need him to? Yeah. Do I think that he's a starter? Oh, hell no.
No, I think he can come in and run your offense in a pinch, but he's not going to win you games.
Well, he could as a game manager kind of a guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. He can come in,
but not as a, not as as the guy.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's only 24.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah, he'll be 25. He'll be 25 December 28th.
Okay.
Okay.
So he turns 25 this season.
Okay.
Tyler Shock old, but
right.
Well,
he's no Brandon Whedon.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Wait,
and that dude was a first rounder for that. So it's like, well,
yeah.
Do you know what Brandon Whedon does now? I saw something the other day, like, where are they now of quarterbacks?
Hangs out with the other elderly at the senior center?
No, he runs the Brandon Whedon Foundation. That's his job. So basically, he takes a salary to run his charity. That's his job. I'm like, really, dude? That must be nice. Wow.
Well, I give him credit for giving back.
Dylan Gabriel's only 1 year younger than Trevor Lawrence. He's been in the league. He was on a second contract in the league.
What are you gonna do? I would love, and I hate to keep beating a dead horse. I would love to be a fly on the wall right now in the Sanders household. Oh my God.
It's him, Ewers, and Howard left, right?
Well, yes, you've got McCord, Ewers, Howard, Riley Leonard, still available.
Okay.
That is Aaron's brother, by the way, big Browns fan. He not happy apparently.
Yeah, dude. Dylan Gabriel played in college for 6 years.
Yeah. There is
are we getting done with the COVID kids?
It's
now,
close. It's close. In fact, we learned last week that the NCAA may make a rule
he was eligible for the AARP.
that you get 5. Every player would get 5 years.
Yeah,
done. That's it. I don't care if we have COVID. I don't care if you're hurt for 3 of those years. 5 years. That's it. That's what the NCAA is considering.
I don't hate that, especially considering how NIL has altered and the transfer portal. The way they operate the transfer portal these days is just so. It gives kids, especially, I think JJ Watt said it best in his tweet like a month ago, that they aren't even student athletes anymore.
Oh, right.
You've completely removed any academic shred of a goal for them now.
Steel daughter. Yeah. They have agents now. They have agents.
Yeah.
I think the situation that happened in Tennessee, like,
was
that
hilarious.
It was. Yeah. Oh, it was
with Mr. I'm a leaving.
But what?
I'm a leaver because I don't want to play for you.
Yeah.
No, and I think his teammates had every right to be pissed in that situation.
Oh yeah.
You're coming in here and asking for almost what he asked for another $2 million on top of what Tennessee was willing to give.
Allegedly.
He wanted 1.6 million more. He was getting 2.4 and he wanted 4 million. He wanted a big raise. He wanted a big raise because they had gone to the college football playoff. And actually there's an accusation. I have a hard time believing these kids would do this because they're all competitors. Right? So if you're an upper echelon competitor, you're just not going to quit. You're just not. Right?
No, I agree.
But supposedly, the accusation is that they didn't play hard in the college football playoff because they were pissed off about not getting more money for having to play extra beyond the season. They thought they should have gotten paid more. Now, I'm not saying it's true. I don't know. It's an accusation. Yeah. It is I want to be clear. It is an accusation. It is
alleged. Yeah.
But I'm like going, okay. And then this kid did this thing where his dad was like shopping him around, going, we want a raise.
Yep.
And then the Oregon coach, Dan Lanning, is like calling up the Tennessee coach going, hey, this kid's shopping for a deal.
Yeah. And kudos to Oregon because they didn't have to do that.
No, they didn't. And kudos to Tennessee for saying, no.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yep.
We're done. Yeah. See ya. We're not giving you $2.4 million anymore.
No.
I think you're starting to lose a lot of integrity when you start throwing around the concept or ideas of giving college kids student athletes. Like, I need people to keep in mind that, like, these are kids who are 18, 19, 20, 21, who almost have no idea how to live in the real world yet. You're giving them access to all of this money, to agents who don't always have their client's best interest at heart. And you're tossing them into these situations where they're going off of what the agent is telling you or what the people around you are pressuring you to do. And I don't think there are safety parameters put in place.
No, there's not.
Protects not only the athlete, but the schools as well from facing potential repercussions of it.
Agreed. But the flip side of that is this. You look back at guys like we laughed earlier about Johnny Manziel and what a fucking idiot he was.
Right.
But when he played at A&M, their fundraising went through the roof. Like, they built a whole new stadium. One year they raised $765 million. Okay. Yeah. So for the kids to be looking at all of that happening and they're getting nothing, the flip side of it is, really, is it fair? No, it's not. Mm-hmm. So that being the case, it's like, okay, well, maybe the kids should get a piece of it, you know, in the interest of fairness. You hope that, as you pointed out, since they're young, that they have people in their lives, parents, mentors, coaches, teachers, whatever, that advise them well and go, hey, you know, you may not make any more money with this beyond this year. It may be over. And you need to be smart with this and put this away and live smart.
Yes.
You know, but when you're 18, 19, 20, whatever, you feel like you're invincible. You feel like you're invincible. I mean, I did. I mean, my
of course.
God.
Yeah.
Just real quick, the Pats took Jared Wilson, the center out of Georgia, and then the Falcons took Xavier Watts, a guy that Ian was talking about a little while ago.
Yeah, nice player.
Notre Dame. Yeah, that's a great pick for the Falcons. Are loading up on D, man.
This
late
rushers and late in the draft, you know, on day 2. That's a nice pick.
Yeah, I totally.
I didn't realize the Raiders have 2 comp picks at the top of the comp picks.
You know, they should. Well, Houston's got the first one, and then it's 2 Raiders in a row. Who in the hell are those for?
You can trade comp picks now.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. That's true. You're right, Ian.
Yeah. The one other thing I'll say about NIL, I feel like the idea behind NIL was not a bad thing. That it was like, hey, this local car dealership wants a college athlete to be in their ad and wants to pay them for it, right? Yeah. Like if it's truly, we want to pay you for advertising for our product, and you know, maybe the Cooper Flags of the world and the you know, Travis Hunters of the world get a Gatorade deal or something like that, and are in a Gatorade commercial. Like, fine, okay. If you're that good of an athlete and can, and some companies like, we'll pay you to be in a commercial for us, fine. I don't care. Good on those kids, right? But the idea that like schools having a pot of money to just pay players to play for them. Like I completely understand that schools are making money hand over fist, especially on football.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like the revenue in football is insane. But I don't know. To steal Daughter's point, like I do think it definitely blurs the line of an amateur athlete at that point, that you're really
they're not amateurs anymore.
The amateur model's done.
Right.
They're absolutely professionals.
Yeah.
You know, Steele's son is a Division III athlete. He had an NIL deal, if you will, with an energy drink company.
Really? That's amazing.
That paid him like $50 a month, and he just had to like do a
that's beer money.
Media.
Oh my goodness.
Whoa, Ian, whoa. Oh, come on. He doesn't use that kind of stuff. In any case, but that just to further the point.
I didn't drink beer in college either, Mark.
Dude, when I was in college, we could get cases of Miller High Life bottles for $12.50.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that, because I'm unpacking
bottles
shit the other day.
Bottles.
For me, it was cans.
After bringing him back from school, and he's got like a bunch of cans of like Coors Light mixed in here. I found a can. I shit you not. a can of Miller High Life. Yeah, he was drinking the champagne of beers.
The champagne of beer.
Champagne.
That was what we bought all the time. It was 12. Glad can.
Oh God!
My buddy Glad in the chat can verify. It was $12.50.
Oh,
and it was
we used to drink
for
Milwaukee's Best Light. You could get a case for like $8.
Yeah, $12.50 for a case of bottles of High Life, and it was our go-to.
Oh man,
Beast was disgusting, but
the Beast was disgusting. But by God, it got you through a weekend.
I mean, the Beast was one of those things where you knew it was going to be a hangover.
That is true, Ben. It was going to feel it the next day. Well, hair of the dog. You'd start right back up about
Raiders
7 a.m.
took Kaleb Rogers.
Yeah, Texans took cornerback Jalen Smith out of USC, and then the Raiders have taken Rogers. Well, I was thinking Rogers, Ragers. It's a Rager, kids. Yeah, Kaleb Rogers. Where did he play?
It is a Rager.
Where's Rogers from?
I don't know.
Shit, I can't see it.
Neither can I. I guess I could look it up. If only I had a device in my hand that I could look that up on.
Well, I have something else in my hand at the moment.
We're going on like 5 hours of podcasting.
I know.
I cannot believe people in the chat are still with us. You guys
crazy.
are amazing.
We have plenty of people still hanging with us. Yeah, let's get a couple of final thoughts here real quick. I think quarterback is probably number one priority. But I'm not in any way, shape, or form ruling out receiver tomorrow. I mean, what's tomorrow? 4, 5, 6, and 7. So you got 4 picks. So, but at 4, I think quarterback's a good bet. Ben, what do you think?
Oh yeah, for sure. They're taking a quarterback at some point. I just don't know when for sure or who it's going to be. Now, I really thought it would be Milroe, but they didn't take him. So
it was one of those things where I really wasn't crazy about drafting him, but once we got, later on, I thought, yeah, I'm okay with it.
The dude has so much potential.
Yeah.
That you think, if he could just figure it out. But I mean, maybe I'm going to make a comparison you guys may or may not like. Justin Fields has so much potential.
Yeah.
Like the dude has got the great big cannon arm.
Yeah.
And he's a lot further along than Milroe is. Don't get me wrong, but he's got the great big cannon arm and he's powerful and he's super fast. So it's like, maybe they were like, we're tired of dealing with guys with potential. We actually want somebody who can do something. And they like Shock. I know that.
Yeah, they definitely did.
He got taken way earlier than anybody thought.
Absolutely. Yep. Ian, what are your final thoughts heading in tomorrow?
So I would say we've done a good job so far of threading the needle of best player available and addressing team needs. We had to get younger and better on the defensive line. We gave up 300 rushing yards to the Ravens in the playoffs and used our first round pick on a defensive tackle who is pretty dang good. And I have, tremendous hope for moving forward. We kind of followed the Andy Weidel model of building in the trenches now that we've taken 2 offensive linemen and a defensive lineman in the 3 years that he's been here.
They're going to take another defensive lineman at some point here.
I agree, man.
I think so. They have to get younger there. I agree. Yeah. And then they needed a running back. They brought in so many. And you look at the guys they brought in for pre-draft visits, right? They brought in a ton of defensive tackles and a ton of running backs. And those are the 2 positions that they picked. And they got a guy who
traded up.
They got a guy who's
4th round. Never mind. Sorry.
Very similar to Najee in kind of size and build, but is a different style of runner. Where Najee was more of a power runner, this guy's more of an outside zone runner and can definitely see the hole, hit the hole, and go. I like Kaleb Johnson a lot, especially consider where we got him. I do think you're right. We need to add a quarterback on day 3. At this point, I mean, I kind of feel like not only the overall headache of Shedeur Sanders of being Deion's kid and, always was coached by him and kind of coddled through high school and college, but beyond that, just the reports about his attitude and his demeanor in interviews and how entitled he is.
That's why he's falling the way he is, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you're through 3 rounds, and this guy has got a legitimate second-round grade, and he's still on the board when 5 other quarterbacks were taken.
Yeah. It does make you wonder, just maybe some of these interviews were even worse than what we've heard.
It could be.
Raiders took Charles Grant after Kaleb.
He was a guy.
We went to his pro day.
Yeah. Steelers liked him.
Our offensive William and Mary guy, definitely a guy Tomlin would have liked. But our offensive line coach went to his, or not Pat Meyer, Williams, the assistant offensive line coach, went to his pro day.
Right.
But no, and I think Kyle McCord is in play. I think Will Howard is in play, especially in the 4th round. And then after that, I think you're right. You definitely add another defensive lineman. I think once you get later in the draft, right, we've seen them add drafting offensive linemen just because you can never have enough offensive linemen. Like Spencer Anderson last year in the 7th round was not on anybody's radar, but it was one of those things where it was like you can never have enough linemen.
The dude has stuck.
Yeah,
and he's going to make the team again this year. Mark my words.
Yep. You can never have enough linemen. You can never have enough cornerback or like defensive backs. So
the Vikings did trade up, but they have the last pick in this round.
Yeah,
they traded up with the Texans.
We will be back in our normal Thursday slot next week. We'll recap day 3 and want to thank everybody that either joined us last night or tonight or both nights. We love you guys. We would do this without you. Trust me, we would, but it makes it way better that you're here with us. So
you guys in the chat sticking with us for like 5 hours.
5 hours of podcasting. We have serious concerns about what you people do with your lives, but be that as it may, hopefully things continue to go well for the Steelers and the rest of this draft, and we'll recap it all coming up on Thursday night of next week. Make sure you check out steelcityblitz.com. We'll have plenty of thoughts and stuff on this draft and everything else. And have a great weekend, everybody. And don't forget, go Steelers.
Ravens suck.
Yeah, fuck those guys. They took Mike Green.